Hey guys, so how does Final Fantasy VII Integrade perform on the Claw 8 and the Nintendo Switch 2? So now with regards to graphic options on the Switch 2, this is all we get, so nothing really, significant to change. Now, one thing I can immediately notice is that this is not 60 FPS. However, it doesn't look bad at all, and it looks actually very, very nice. So I have been playing this game on 60 FPS on my PC handhelds, and in case you are thinking of 60 FPS, then something you should know, this is definitely not 60 FPS, but it's something you can very easily get used to. Overall, the graphics and the performance is more than good enough. The resolution seems very, very nice. It's not a very low resolution with jagged edges. Everything looks very good actually. Now let's have a look at the performance on the Claw 8. Now I am running the Claw at 1200p. And if I go to settings, as you guys can see, is borderless and 1920 by 1080. Unfortunately, you don't get 1920 by 1200. Frame rate, I will change to 60 FPS. Everything is on low. So let's see how the game performs on the Claw 8. The FPS and the information is at the top left here. So let me go ahead and skip the cutscene and see how it performs on the Claw 8. So right off the bat, one thing I can notice is that this game is so much smoother on the Claw 8 and also seems a lot sharper. Now before I begin, I just want to show you guys that I do have Tooth and Claw up and running, and I have Intel Adaptive Sharpening at 50%. Another thing is that I do have CPU boost disabled, and this is a key thing to make note of. It can make a big difference in some games and also can affect your battery life, so make sure you disable this, or in some games you may need to enable it if it's CPU intensive, but for this game having it disabled is more than good enough. So let's just go back into the game, and as you guys can see, I'm getting, well, at least in this area, a locked 60 FPS, which is absolutely amazing. And I think I might actually play this game on the Claw 8 now, because at a native 1200p to be running at a locked 60 FPS with this kind of visuals, so smooth and sharp, is just absolutely amazing, guys. And I'm getting around 60 minutes, so 1 hour at 43%, so you are getting around 2.5 hours on the Claw 8, which I think is basically the same battery life as you will get on the Switch 2. But anyways, let's see how it performs on the Claw 8.
Who goes there? You're up.
Everything looks very, very sharp and very nice. Let's see how it performs. So the frame rate is dropping a bit, but overall it's very, very nice. Everything looks super crisp, and I'm actually, surprised at how good the performance and the visuals are. The audio, another thing, on the Claw 8 is absolutely amazing. It's just, there's so much depth and clarity in the audio. You get really immersed in the experience with the speakers you get on the Claw 8. Much better than the Switch 2. So let's see how it performs during battles. I can see that it does dip down into the 40s, but overall it's like a locked 60 FPS. Yeah guys, so the performance is not bad on the Claw 8. In fact, very, very good. On the Nintendo Switch 2, the performance is also not so bad, but definitely not as smooth or as sharp as compared to the Claw 8. However, if you do have Nintendo Switch 2 and you don't have the Claw 8, you should be more than happy to play this game on the Switch 2 because it's very well optimized and overall the experience on it is absolutely amazing. I did play this game on the Switch 2 and to be honest with you, I had an amazing experience. So regardless of which system you have, whether you have the Claw 8 or the Switch 2, you should be happy with what you have. And you know, like I said, this video is not to hate on either of these systems, but rather to show you the differences in visuals and performance just for fun. So yeah guys, this is how it performs on the Switch 2. So yeah guys, absolutely amazing performance on the Switch 2. Now another thing really great about the Switch 2 is HDR, which the Claw 8 does not have. So one advantage of getting this game on the Switch 2 is HDR. Also the fact that the Switch 2 is more portable is another advantage. The fact that you can remove the Joy-Cons, it's so much easier to carry. Also, this is basically a tablet compared to this bigger and bulkier handheld. So overall, the performance of the Final Fantasy VII Integrade is absolutely amazing on both of these handhelds. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.